Hi.
Hello. I see your little thumbnail. I see you hiding behind smiling.
I
Hello.
just realized that I forgot I need to get a brush. I forgot for my project, but before I do, I wanted to greet everyone. Hello, everyone. Hi, Julie. Hi, Byron. Oh, thank you.
Welcome everybody. So nice,
Hey, Angie. Hi, Karen.
nice of you to join us.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
who's
your favorite
mad?
part of the week. That's sweet.
Karen, you're mad at us?
Okay, Karen is definitely not mad. It's the Facebook playing games. Hello, TMA.
TMA. I think in Italian, TMO is I love you or something. So that's a pretty name.
Oh, that's very nice. Hey, Julie. Julie is en route back from an afternoon a video conference clients. Nice. Hey, Lynn. Hey,
I
Bobby.
welcome everybody. So we're
Diane.
guess what we're doing today? We're decorating cookies.
And I'm going to be doing turkey cookies. You guys have been asking for it so much, so I caved in. But Friday, it's Christmas. I promise. I promise. Keeping my fingers crossed. Yes.
The way
I don't
you
know.
said it, I was like, "What? Friday's Christmas? I'm a little behind."
No,
Yeah.
no, no. Friday is definitely not Christmas, guys. Don't listen to me. It's
Well,
not.
I posted. I shared a story on my story of Mariah Carey. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I did not. What
So
happened?
Mariah Carey makes a ton of money from
Ton
her
of money
song.
every Christmas. Yes,
So
yes.
she basically launched Christmas season on her story
She
today. So you
lives
guys,
on that song. Yes.
yes, it's pretty funny.
I wish we had a video like that. It would
Hello,
be like a
Yummy.
seasonal video that we could like live
Hello.
on.
So am I going to kick it off and you
Well,
can,
thank
I don't know,
you.
get your,
Yes, please. I'm gonna disappear for a second to get my tool. I forgot I need a quarter-inch brush. So I'll disappear for two
there it
seconds.
is. So today I am kicking off, well, no, I've done Christmas. I did Santa a little while ago. What am I saying? So, oh, glad you're liking her recipe. If you guys want to check out her blog here, let me just pop it up on, where's the, if you want to, oh, I have to repress this. There's her blog. If you guys want to check it out, on her homepage is where she actually has her recipes. And I also have made in the past her soft cook. Why is it? Oh, I have it on photo and not video. Oopsie. Yeah, she has her soft cookie recipe that I use when I make the buttercream cookies, and it is so good. So you guys should check it out. Okay, so yes, I'm making some holiday cookies, and I mean, Christmas trees and all the standard stuff can be decorated in like 1,000 ways. So I'm just trying to think differently than anything I've done in the past. Just trying to give you guys some decorating ideas, you know?
I don't have that cutter. I love that cutter. I have a lot of tree cutters. I love that cutter.
Well, this cutter can easily be done. So last year we actually did live streams as well. So if you guys want to look back to last year's Christmas series, we did some nice stuff, and I actually made a triangle tree just by cutting a circle and then, you know, cutting it in like pie shapes, and you get essentially the same shape, right? Doing it that way, hand cutting it. Thought that you recently, yeah, it's a fun shape. This shape is actually by Copper Gifts, and Copper Gifts, sadly, from what I saw, they went out of business. Okay, so these bows actually are a little overcooked, I would say. What happens when you make small cookies, thin small cookies, you really have to watch them. So that's why I'm kind of showing them to you. And the other thing I wanted to show you guys is if you're adding smaller cookies to a base cookie, you want to maybe consider rolling them slightly thinner. If they're thinner, they're not as bulky on the top. It makes them look a little bit more, I don't know, proportionate, I want to say, so that it's not so heavy on the top of the cookie. you know, it like makes it a little oversized. Here I have one actually that's full thickness, and you can see it just makes it, it's just less dainty, I guess you could say. So if you look at the bow, this is a bow that's only available at How Sweet Is That. She gets a few custom shapes made herself.
That's really nice bow. I like that it's not
Yeah,
big.
I
But
don't know, Diane.
sometimes, you know, where you can get these bows during the Halloween time, they sell I mean, they're not probably very durable, but they are still usable. The plastic cutters for all the little Halloween, like they're big shapes, and they have like little cut out for the face, for the bow tie, and all that.
Oh yeah, I've never, this one is sold separately. Diane, I don't know where you got yours, but I got it at How Sweet Is That. So this is red icing. When you're making a bow, if you want it to look like rounded, you need to work in a slightly thicker icing or put some structural icing underneath. The runnier icing is, the easier it is to heal, but it dries quite flat. So if you want to have a dimensional kind of look, you need a thicker icing.
Julie, I have that cutter as well. You have that cutter as well. It's a cutter it's a large Easter chick.
And I forgot it even has a bow, but she's absolutely
It has a green
correct.
bow.
And a
I
perfect
think
size.
it might, yeah, it would probably work for that as well. Yes, Julie, that's a good
I
good
forgot
catch.
about him.
Hi, Debbie. Everybody's loving it. Katie is telling you to look out that we have an extra person watching.
Oh, yes.
Well, I brought him in because Karen mentioned the Buster. He was in a closet.
He's getting claustrophobic. All right,
Yes.
so I'm just like puffing up this icing, and if your icing tends to cave, you can do those little structural wiggle lines underneath, and that's helpful to keep the icing from flopping over. Now, normally you would have to wait for this to dry to then come in and add the knot, but I'm using an M&M. And an M&M is just a fast way to get your bow on, and you don't have to wait.
So everybody feels what you are going through. She sorted all her cutters, and now her turntable is misplaced.
Yes, I feel you.
So I feel your pain. We all feel your pain.
So
Hopefully
you can see it's not exactly the same color, but I find it's still cute.
Oh, it's great. I like that it's not the same color.
But if you want, and if it bothers you, you can just come in and do like a little squiggly line on it. And then it actually, because the background is like darker, it kind of makes it stand out. And if you want, you can just do a little, like that little extra thing, but I don't find it adds really to it. So that's that. So that's how you make the little bow, and you want to set them aside.
Mexico City. Thanks everyone for joining us. We're still tuning in.
Set them aside to dry.
Christmas tree cookies and cookies.
This is just a circle, and I used a smaller circle to create a little kind of impression in there to help me. Circles can be tricky to draw.
Thank you, Michelle.
So I've got my little bow, and it's had a little bit of time to crust over, because if you're handling your cookie and it's still wet, well, you could very well stick your finger and crack it or dent it. So, and I'm dropping my icing line right into that little crevice that I created. And then I'm outlining the perimeter of the cookie. So this is going to be a little wreath. Now I'm doing wet on wet icing. So when you're adding secondary colors, you don't want to overfill, because when you do come in with that second or third color, well, it could very well fall right off the cookie. Ideally, if your cookie is this size, you're using hybrid or dual consistency icing, which means it's the same icing to outline and flood, or else the outline is so big with like regards to the actual size of the cookie, you know, this is not a big cookie. So if I have the outline line and then the flood, I find it kind of makes it look not as dainty. So my icing is not really healed, but it doesn't matter. And now I'm just adding dots, a gap, a dot, a gap. Now you could do it in one color, but I'm just going to add a little bit of darker green to the middle of that light green. So I'm just in the middle of each dot adding
And this is, what's the consistency?
Oh, it's probably 20.
20 seconds?
Yeah.
I like the dark green. It really makes it pop.
Yeah, it adds a little bit of something. So now I'm just going to go all the way around. I'm running my needle right through all those dots. You see? And then you get your little wreath, kind of looking a little bit more branchy. And then in the wet icing, you can just drop
It's
in that
beautiful.
little,
See how it's a simple technique.
yeah, but effective. So
Very,
now
very effective.
I've seen it done this a few different ways, but I thought I'd just fill in a little bit here with that same dark green just to kind of, make it look a little bit more full. You could leave it or you can do this.
Well, I like that very much. So Karen has a good question. This is a question that is going to be very important in coming months, heading towards the Christmas time and all the Christmas reds that we are going to use. So no matter what I do, and I've tried everything, and I can't keep my red, and she's using Emery Color Super Red from Bleeding. Any tried and true suggestions?
Well, Karen, you can go on the AmeriColor site and purchase their powder. So they sell powdered food color, and that might be your saving grace. Not expensive. It's a little bottle, and you can try that. I think that might be, and it doesn't taste, and I've not had any issues with the red. And this is what this is. This is powdered red food
Since
color.
you've tried everything, I assume you've tried, aging it. You know what I mean by aging it. You've probably tried. I would add white food coloring to royal. If you tried everything, it's very peculiar. I think then I would go to the source, and that's the royal icing. Maybe the meringue powder is a culprit.
So now this has had time to crust over. So I'm just with that same red, just sprinkling on a few little berries just to brighten it up. You can use pearls in the wet icing if you'd rather, but the pearls can be a little hard on the teeth depending on the brand you're using.
Yes, absolutely.
And
yes, June, thank you. I forgot.
And there isn't the wreath pretty on my cutting board?
It is pretty. Debbie also has a good suggestion to start with pink, so you don't have to add. It does help.
Yes. All right, so now here is that cutter, and we were discussing the cutter. This particular design is by Copper Gifts. If you search, you'll probably find a similar one. Copper Gifts is no longer in operation, so I cannot suggest that you shop there. And I'm just outlining and flooding again in dual consistency icing so that there is no separation between that outline and
Yes. Oh, I see, Karen. That's what I also use. I use Wilton meringue powder. That's the only meringue powder I've been using ever since I started.
well, the food color that I'm suggesting is really not expensive. Maybe it's just worth a try.
Yeah. Maybe it's something that it's sometimes these things are really hard to figure out what's causing it. Thank you, Carrie, or Kari, sorry. Lorena has a question. So question, how long do cookies need to dry to get them hard final touch before bagging them?
24 hours usually is good. I've heard people need more time. I think that might only be due to your climate, extreme humidity, but 24 hours generally is the safe. Hey, Han, you agree?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that would be the same. Like if you are making minis, it may not take as long. I would say do a test run and then see, how long you really need. You may need a little less time, but 24 hours will give you a safe.
So here is the surface. I'm tilting it in the light and you can see it's level. If you have trouble leveling your icing, usually if you just take it and agitate like this, it causes like that movement, helps it, and it self-levels. So here is a crusted one.
So Katie has an airbrush question for you. Where is a good place to buy a .5 gun?
Well, I bought
Airbrush gun, just
Yeah.
so it's not airbrush gun.
I bought all of mine on AliExpress. So, I mean, the thing, like, I know AliExpress tends to be a long time to get your stuff, but if you look, I didn't know, I recently saw that you can actually select faster shipping and pay a little bit more. And yeah, that's where I've bought mine and always gotten, if you write me, Katie, on like one of the, Facebook or wherever, I'll give you the link of the one I bought. But that's how I kind of get mine. I find that's like, they're just, the American shops are just reselling Chinese products. I just go right to the source. All right, so now this has had time to crust, and you can see that's nice and shiny. It actually went in the dehydrator for a little bit. And I'm just taking the line up here, and I can't really see if I'm doing it good, but I'm taking it to the point.
No, you excellent.
And you see, I like to let the line fall. So the bag has a hole. It's like a spaghetti coming out. And so if I'm a little bit above and I let the line fall, the line stays, in the shape that it's coming out. If you're really close like this, well, you tend to kind of cause the line to get wonky. And now I'm just filling in.
Mar, you don't use egg whites, you use meringue powder, right?
I do. A local brand. It's called Bartelette. They sell it like it's like for a commercial. I get like a huge box, and that's like it's just honestly the most affordable. Even like because it's always a bit cheaper when you buy like restaurant type, that stuff. I'm connecting to those two little outside lines I initially created. I'm going to give it that shake. My icing sometimes will be a little finicky to heal. It's because I'm working in a thicker consistency. I just like to have it a bit thicker. It tends to not dry as flat to the surface. Now, while this is wet, I'm adding a little star to the top, a sprinkle. You can add whatever or nothing.
Everybody's loving it. Hi, Heather. Thanks for joining us.
It's a little Wilton star sprinkle, just a nice size. So guys, I bought, and I don't know if it's still available in store, but at Michael's, they came out, Sweet Tooth Fairy came out with her new sprinkles when the season kind of started. And she has a silver and a gold that is so gorgeous, but you need to run to Michael's because I don't think they're going to restock. And it's just so nice. So if you want to check that out for Christmas. And now I'm angling a brown line.
Did you wait at all? You didn't wait at all, right? You started poking the lines right after you did that. Okay.
So there's my kind of like just branches, and I'm connecting to that center and just angling slightly up and letting the line fall. Release the pressure when I know I want to cut, and I pull away. There it is. And then I don't have to wait because my kind of like little pine needles are not touching. And you want to make sure your cookie's at the right angle so that it's easier for you to pipe. And I'm just having some little tiny tear shapes coming out of those little brown lines.
So Lorena is asking, we have a bagging question. Are there specific bags for the icing? When I cut the tip, it is too small and comes out thin and curls. Can we use silicone bags or not recommended? Also, tips or no tips? So we can I'm gonna bring it up. So for the icing, I think Marlon now is using a tipless bag. I can show them right before I start. Tipless bag. It is important when you're using tipless bag, it doesn't have a flap, right? That the seam is a nice clean seam. Otherwise, you will have issues with how icing is coming out. It may be curling also that because your opening is small compared to the pressure you're putting on the bag. So if your opening is small and you're pushing the bag really, 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 really hard, it's going to start coming out curly also. So release the pressure or make your opening slightly bigger. Another solution could be using a piping tip. Right.
And also, Han, maybe the hole isn't cut right. You know, if you cut
maybe the hole is not right. That could also be, yes. Make sure that you cut it straight. I'll show you how I cut my T-plus bags. I think Mara cuts them the same way.
So I'm barely squeezing, eh? I'm barely squeezing. I don't need a lot. I'm just basically a drop and then dragging. My surface is dry, so I'm able to kind of like pull it onto the surface. And I can.
Everybody's loving it. Hello to Colorado. We have a Colorado. My husband's name is Rado, and nobody can pronounce his name, so we use Colorado as an example. It's like, it's like Colorado. And then they all get it after that. He came up with it. It's really clever. So
well, there it is. Now you can, if you wanted, you could make a small little bird transfer.
So where would you suggest, Joyce is asking, where can a person purchase pearls that don't break teeth?
Oh, well, you can get confetti sprinkles are pretty soft. And then you can look
pearls are hard to get that are not hard at all.
The chocolate pearls, yes. Crisp pearls or sixlets, their brands are usually pretty good. And now I'm just sprinkling, all over the tree here, some red icing dots. Add them wherever you like. And if you want, you can wait for this to kind of dry before you add them so that the green has a bit of time to crust over so that they don't kind of like heal into each other. But
oh, everybody's loving it. Victoria was hoping for a simple tree design. This is perfect. It's beautiful, modern tree. Sally loves it. Hello, so darling.
So recently, this morning, I published this dress in my group. So this is a corset, and I used the corset to trim off my Christmas tree. And I made this. And so some people were asking about what to do with the royal icing transfers after you make them. So I had in my coffee shop 10 templates for different royal icing transfers. And one of them, or two of them actually, because these are two different shaped ornaments, are these ornaments. And so if you wanted, you could also add this type of thing to your Christmas tree. Design, make them a little bit smaller. So
everybody's loving it.
For the last thing, I'm going to have to move some stuff. And then.
Oh, Lynn, you've been decorating cookies all morning. Would 8 hours be enough time before freezing?
I would wait overnight.
I would wait a little longer, maybe, just to be sure, depending also on what colors. Some colors can take longer to dry.
So some of you don't have an airbrush, and the holidays are coming. One of the things that's fun on holiday cookies is a bit of shine. So here I'm just putting a paper towel, and this is by Chef Master, and it's pearl. So I'm going to just glam up my gifts. So this is just a square that has a bit of a rounded corner. So you can use the pointed corner or whatever. And now I'm just going to.
Have you started on your Christmas shopping at all?
Yes, of course.
Oh, you have? Wow, really good.
And here it is. Now, I don't know if you can see. Oh, yeah, you can see it.
Yes, there is a little.
So I have one here that doesn't have the pearl on it, and this one has the pearl. And you see, it's like, it just gives it a touch. And so they sell them in all sorts of colors. So if you want to just add, maybe you want to add a little bit darker blue to your snowflakes, you could do them in a pale blue, a touch of darker blue on the points, whatever. The only thing about those can mists, it's great product, but you can't go like really in a spot. It's like it's like a spray. It's like when you're
there's no way to you can't really aim with it.
There's no aiming. And now I'm just adding with that red icing some string kind of to the gift here, and see I'm just crossing over, and then this way.
Oh, hi, Joseph. Thanks for coming.
Like that. Okay. And I'm going to add some branches to this opening. And we're basically copying the design from the tree and just adding some pine needles. And you see the blue's a nice background for this color palette. And it looks intricate, but you can go pretty fast. Your icing, when it's not touching anything else, it doesn't have to be super stiff to hold the line. And it's much easier on your hand if you suffer from maybe arthritis or any kind of hand issues, and it's painful for you. You don't need to have super hard icing.
Oh, Joseph, it's fine. We understand.
And then one of the royal icing transfer things I have in is a poinsettia, so you can add a poinsettia to your gift. This one here has a little pine cone, and you see, so you have a little bit of a variation.
So Karen is asking us, what color is the background on your gift?
Just really light blue.
So it's a light
blue, but very, very light blue.
Oh yes, guys, how was your Halloween? This is a great question. We can ask this everyone. Let us know, how was your Halloween? What did you guys wear? How did you go to trick-or-treating? How much candy do you have? Do you have any?
I wore my pajamas.
Good for you. Good for you. Oh, look, it's beautiful set. I like how you use the same kind of design to keep it all within that same style on each cookie. Beautiful.
Yeah. So the pine cone is just a mini petal tip. It's in the group. If you're in the group, it's with I did a cardinal gift box this year, and that's one of the projects in there. I built it on a M&M just to give it a little bit of a roundness. The thing is you can work with royal icing dots, but they're not as tasty. At least this, you bite into it and you get a chocolate surprise. So that's it. Thank you, Sally. Yes, usually, Carla, if you're working in similar colors, it usually can kind of look cohesive together, if you're a beginner, less is more with regards to your color palette. If you can, and then if you're sometimes not sure, sometimes just using the similar color tones. Like you see the tree is 2 shades of green, so it doesn't look so busy. The stuff still stands out that's on it, so it's not so, the line is quickly crossed when you're adding too much stuff, right? Thank you, everybody. I'm glad you like it. So we're gonna
Christmas. So I'm going to bring a switch more white here. Oh, you can see. All right, excellent. All right, sorry. I'm just massaging my bag here.
You're massaging your bag?
Yes, piping bag.
So yes, sometimes the icing separates.
All right, so today I decided, by the popular demand, you guys were asking for more turkey cookies, so I decided to go with it. And there were lots of suggestions, or some suggestions about the cutters. So if you don't have a turkey cutter, or you want to make something a bit less complicated, I ended up using this cutter. This is a really nice scallop edge cutter. I think it's around 3 inches. And what I did, I trimmed the bottom. Now you can trim it before you bake it. Some of them I didn't trim, I trimmed it after with a knife. I just cut it off. So I trimmed like 4, scallops?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I trimmed 4. You don't have, I think it should work without it, but I think trimming it just gives it that different look. And then I used, and this is a cutter that I've had for many, do you know what this is? Any idea?
No.
So this is a cutter from, and I love nesting dolls.
Oh.
So this is, I don't know, This is one that I don't know if the company even exists. It's not the highest quality, this one, but this is the 3D cutter. So for this one, what else could you use? You could use maybe
Well,
2
there's
dots
actually a really cute little snowman.
or snowman. Yes, something like that. Okay.
That would work. And there's one little snowman actually comes with a little top hat, and the turkey is actually cute with
Head,
a
top head, yeah. So that would also work. Okay. So I'm gonna first make the turkey, or start working on the turkey, because it needs a little bit of time to crust. So what I ended up doing.
Denise is asking if we can freeze the leftover
Yes,
icing.
you can freeze it. I have frozen royal icing many times. You can freeze it. I do have an extensive post about it where I did a lot of testing with it on my blog. Just look up freezing royal icing and it should come up either in a Google search or in my search bar on my blog, haniela.com. I usually freeze my royal icing in the pots like this, in a Ziploc, in a piping bag, unless I have a big batch or something, and then I put them in a Ziploc bag. I don't recommend freezing icing for more than 3 times in a row, the same bag, because it starts to crystallize or something. And you can learn more about it on a blog. All right, so I'm using, this is brown royal icing here, and I'm just gonna outline and flat the whole thing, and then I'll do a quick wet on wet to create kind of like feathers look. It's also something that people use to create bubbles in drinks. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, your coffee.
No. You'll see. No. I think that's how, yeah. No. All right, so now I'm gonna take my white, and this is about, so this is also about 50, this is like 15, I think, runnier than. So I'm just gonna make dots. Okay. And now with the same brown, I'm gonna partially cover them, making kind of like a crescent shape. And since this is all done wet on wet, it's going to sink in. And if it's not sinking, you can help it a little bit, just, okay? And then you have to let this crust. So once this is crusted, I'm going to add another layer here on the top.
Are you making a waddle today?
Yes. Oh, look at you, turkey anatomy. There you go. But Jeremy said that, yes, I will be making waddle. Jeremy said that the piece above the peak is different. It's called differently, right? All right, so then you have to let this crust again. So I'm going to move it. All right, and here is the one that is already crusted. So we can actually add the eyes, the beak, and waddle as well. All right, so I'm going to do the beak first. So I've got, this is kind of like a, not a golden yellow, but I add a little bit of orange or icing to my lemon yellow.
Looks mustard yellow to me.
Or mustard yellow.
I had to give it a label.
Very well. Let's call it a mustard yellow. Sounds good to me. I don't like yellow mustard. I never cared for yellow mustard. I like Dijon. Do you like mustard?
No, I really can live without both. My life is fine without both.
You don't have to smother your bread in it. No, I don't do that. It's a condiment, right? So I use a little bit. But you don't need it. You don't use it in cooking at all?
Very rarely I do use a Dijon. Occasionally I will make a honey mustard concoction for the men in the house that eat meat. But that's about it.
That's about it? Okay. Got it. Now I'm gonna pick up a little dot of icing and just place it on. It's just easier than trying to get the piping bag onto this small eye.
It is yaller. That's right, Virginia. No, Heather.
So now I would suggest that you let the yellow be dry, crust a little bit, okay, before you move. So we can just let that be. Now here are my cookies. So these are trimmed with a knife. And I'm gonna show you a couple. I'm gonna start. Um, I'll do this design first, and then we can do the other one. I can get my. This is a number. Um, oh, it's clogged. Are you kidding me? Just my luck. So give me a second. I'm gonna try to unclog this. Is it coming? Oh, it's coming. I think. So I've got like thick icing here in my piping bag, and I'm using. This is a number 3 piping tip, round piping tip. So I'm gonna be doing some brushed embroidery. Very simple. Here I'm spraying some water on my paper towel so I can dampen my brush and also wipe off any icing residue. I'm just gonna have it on the side.
Oh, I think so. Diana's asking if she could make a peacock with that, of course.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes, we could make a peacock.
Hi,
Absolutely.
Kathleen. Thanks for joining us.
So I'm gonna start on the edge here, and I'm gonna do 3 or 4 at a time.
It's a very fancy turkey.
Yeah, I didn't. I was playing with different ideas, and yeah, I didn't want to do just trade. I have some that I did just wet on wet because you can just do that. It's very fast and
So these would be cute place settings.
yeah, that was the whole idea. Place settings. You could do that. I love this scalloped edge cutter because the edge is more rounded. They're kind of on a larger size.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And I use them actually. I'm releasing a new video. My patrons, I think you should have gotten the video. I think it came out, it went out today for pie cookies. And I have in my patron group, it's apple pie cookies. And then on YouTube, I'm releasing on Wednesday blueberry pie cookies. And I use this same cutter. It's such a nice cutter.
Is it still available?
The cutter?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's in my Global Belly shop, and I think it should be also on Amazon.
Jennifer. It's then I guess it's to find one that a version that maybe is easier for you with that. Maybe just you use a pedal tip and do a pedal instead.
Are you struggling with this technique?
She has tremors.
Oh, then don't do it. It's not worth it's. Yeah, I think Marlene's suggestion is excellent. Now you can do another layer. I did another layer here. If you wanted to, you can. Oops, this is really bright, huh? Okay, you can kind of stagger them and do another layer of brushed, or you can just add a layer of royal icing. I'm going to use my scribe just to see about the border.
So Diana says she has trouble getting the brush embroidery. Is it because of her consistency or the brush, or what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm not an expert on brushed embroidery, but I find myself that it's depending on the look you're looking for. I don't know what you're looking for. If you add too little icing, then you have nothing to work with. So then you're gonna brush off all of the icing. So the starter line needs to be thicker, I find. needs to be thicker so you can, excuse me, actually brush some of the icing off. And then I prefer it on a thicker side. If you want to, again, it depends on the design. You can use brushed embroidery with runnier, like softer icing, but then you won't get the texture because it's going to kind of get all smooth. So I don't know what your struggles are. That's hard to, help. I don't know what your struggles are. Also, the brush matters. This is a 1/4 inch. This is Wilton, and this is, I think, from a set of 5, I believe. So now I'm going to show you about the piping tips. Lorena, I think, was asking about the piping tips, piping bag. So this is a tipless piping bag. There's a seam here, and you want to make sure that the seam is clean, that it doesn't have a flap, because that flap is going to mess up how the icing is coming out. So what I like to do, I like to flatten it in the middle where the seam is, like so, and then...
I just want to interrupt. So when she's talking the flap, it's manufacturing of the bag. There some like
yes.
many sellers.
Like this is a flap, right? This is a
yes.
This is a bag. So this is a flap. So imagine this is your seam. So you don't want anything to overhang. Okay, you don't want anything like that. Sorry. Yes. Thanks for stepping in. So you want to flatten it in the middle, and then do not cut here. Okay, guys.
Oh my God.
Icing is going to come out. You will have no control, and your table is going to be orange.
But
and
your cookies will be filled very quickly.
Well, you won't have many cookies filled because this is going to take 1 cookie and you'll be done. And then don't cut like this. When you're trying to make a round opening, make sure that you cut straight across. Now, I made a pretty big opening, and this is not totally straight.
So don't do what she did. Do what she said.
What I said is, it's hard because I'm trying to put it in a view of the camera.
Yes.
Now, also, if you haven't decorated cookies before and you have no idea, like, okay, she said, like, what size you should cut it. So get yourself some piping tips. Okay, this is a number 2 and number 4. So, and then what you can do with your, do I have a clothes bag here? Here. What you can do, you can put your piping bag inside, and then see how much it's coming out. This is not, science. Okay, I just wanted to like figure out how much to cut off. That's all. You can figure it out based on the tips that you can get. See how big of an opening those have. Okay. So now I'm going to do simple wet on wet. I'm going to ice this with orange, and then I'll use some yellow. Oh no, I should do blue. Do you guys? Oh, I'm gonna do blue instead of that. No, I'm gonna do blue. I like this blue.
Very nice.
Okay. Now the design that I'm about to do, it's I think the most popular and all skill levels friendly design, wet on wet, really easy.
Sally, are you listening? It's easy.
It's very easy. Sally just did. She did your. She did some. You did something. Your cookies. She did.
I have to go back. Look, I can't keep up with Sally.
Yes, Sally is. She's prolific. She's faster than us. We post and the next day it's done.
Yes.
She does it. So now I'm going to use actually white here.
It's a turkey peacock. That's correct.
Oh, it's a turkey peacock. Okay.
Yeah, Karen. Yeah. Sally says it's very easy. No problem.
Okay, and now you take your scribe. I'm gonna start in the middle. I find it's better than starting off the edge here, because I'm able to divide my lines better. I'm trying to aim toward the center here, the bottom edge.
Oh, Julie, we're just teasing Sally, but there's no, it's not a race. We go at our own pace.
Okay, so that's one design. And then you can also add, this one is already kind of crusted. So what you can do, you can then come in with.
Is this 15-20 consistency?
The flood was, yes, the flooding, yes. This one, it's thicker, the one I'm using now. You can add dots around. This is about 20, I would say.
And can I ask you, there's a little bit of orange or something there. Is that a mistake?
That's a mishap. I was using orange and then
You didn't like it?
Yes, I didn't like it. And then I used blue and then I didn't like it either. So there are 2 layers of different colors that I scraped
Just
on.
wondering if it was your marker that had bled. That's why I was asking.
No. See on the edge here, it's all like from the icing.
So let's say, guys, you had that happen and you scrape off your icing and see at the bottom she has that. You can use the microplane actually to clean off the leftover icing if you're, she's just using it for this demo video, but if you were serving them at your Thanksgiving, and you wanted them to look perfect, you just microplane it off and then boom, you have a pristine cookie.
I might do that before I take a picture of them. That's a good idea. And then what you can do here is this little guy. So now the waddle. So I'm going to do, I've seen them online coming from either left side or right side. I don't think it really matters. I'm just going to go.
Very nice. So Diana's asking about, again, the curling coming out of the piping tip, or the piping bag. We discussed that earlier.
Well, I personally think it's because the pressure, it's not, the opening on a piping tip is not corresponding correctly to the pressure you're putting on a bag. So you're putting too much pressure, or that could be something, the Oreo icing is too thick or something like that. If you continue having these problems, then I would suggest that you invest in a PME tip. If you are, experiencing that with like when you're piping details. Oh, really?
It's just
sorry, that's kind of gross.
Why didn't they save the feathers and put them in their hats?
We really peacock for turkeys. I guess when there was
I don't know.
There wasn't enough turkeys.
There's so many things that were disgusting. Really, they just really. So, yes, it is very nice for blue underneath, but I was talking about at the bottom there, where show what I'm talking about, Han. Show your the bottom part edge where it's cut. That's where I was referring.
So I iced this cookie with orange. I scraped it off. Then I iced it all with blue. I scraped it off, and then I decided to do brushed embroidery.
That's correct.
And then what you can do. So you think it looks like a peacock?
No, it's just the color palette. I think they made.
Oh, the color palette. Yeah, Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree about that.
Oh, that's exciting, Joseph. Joseph's writing a book.
Oh, that's awesome.
Writing. He's been a busy guy. Hey, he got over his illness and now he's writing a book.
So there, and what you can actually do with these, you can stand them up. Oops, well, it's not ready yet because these guys, you could stand them up, but I do like them flat like this, okay?
So
now,
Lorena's asking, how do you outline thinly and then fill in thickly?
Oh, well, you increase the
squeeze.
I'll do one with orange. Let's do that. You just increase the squeeze, that's all. So because I'm using runny icing, this is 15 seconds. So you don't have to put too much pressure on the bag for the icing to come out. I'm not putting much pressure on it. Very little pressure.
So
really close to none. I'm just letting the gravity do its kind of job. And so when you are ready to fill, I'm going to increase the pressure, and you see how much more icing is coming out now?
It's a little bit like in the car. You press a little bit on the gas, and then you press a lot on the gas.
Yes.
Kind of like that.
So now I'm just going to use my scribe. You were going to say, sorry, keep interrupting you.
That's fine. Diana wants to know, is there anything that you struggle with? You look like everything's so easy.
Me?
Well, both of us, she's asking, but I'm asking you.
Oh, of course I struggle.
A technique that you struggle with.
Well, there are things that I'm not going to talk about things that I'm not good at. That would be, no, there are a few things that I find now when I'm, not that I've been decorating for a while, I try not to do too many lace designs like lattice. I used to do those. Very fun. It's very time consuming, and you really have to have butt of steel because you're going to be sitting at one cookie for an hour, and nobody gets it. Everybody's like, oh, it's so pretty, but nobody gets how much time you spend. So those, I don't struggle with it, but I just don't like to do them as much as I used to. Maybe when it takes a very long time, I'm not, I don't know. I'm not the greatest, I suppose, at, oh, this is fig icing. I took a different bag. Never mind.
Doesn't matter.
I'm not best at painting.
Oh, I'm with you on the painting. I'm not very good at painting. That's something
something that is kind of not that I couldn't do it, but I just yeah.
Well, if I, in my, like for me, I don't find I paint well, and so I don't do it. And I work towards my strengths. I do the stuff that I feel I'm,
exactly. That you are good at, yes. Yeah, I think painting is probably one of the, yes.
There's no icing police.
So now I'm just going to bring it through, and this is super easy. I think these are probably more traditional colors than the colors I chose for the other one.
So Judy, the shiny is your meringue powder and drying time. So ideally you're using a fan to speed up the drying time.
And at this point, if you'd like, you can also add some sprinkles. Oops, I went a little too deep. So this got a heel coming there. All right. So these are just some white nonpareils. I'm just going to add some interest to the whole thing.
I'm wondering what the background would look like if you didn't use white. You mean, Julie, when she did the brush embroidery?
Oh yeah, well, I also did one like this, which I actually have to say I really like this one. So what I did, I did this border, and then you have to let it crust, and then I did the brushed, and then I did the middle and the dots and all. Okay, so yeah, that's my. So here's my finished. I'm gonna say peacock now. You guys all got me. Here is also the orange one. So I don't know. So I do like the orange ones, but I also like the blue ones.
Well, I mean, if you run an orange line in the blue one, then they tie together and you can.
Yes, they do. Yes, that's true. That's true. Yes.
Yes, it is Amber's thing.
Yes, it very much is. How long did it take you to prep the crust? Oh, so today I worked in the morning on here in Spain it's going to be, we have a time difference now, 5 hours, the time change, so it's 7 hours. It's going to be 7 hours here. So I worked on these in the morning, so to let them kind of crust. But I always place my cookies in front of a fan, if I can.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy it, Diana. you know, we do it because we enjoy spending time with you guys, and it's always nice to gather with people that, you know, enjoy the same
Yes.
interests.
Exactly. And I also have another tutorial for a turkey coming out, and that's the buttercream one that I did a couple weeks ago, also on Tuesday. That is very easy, and it's all buttercream and done on soft loft house cookies.
So
For the flooding, I personally usually use 15 to sometimes 20, 15 to 20, I would say. Oh, Joseph, thank you.
So yes, she was wondering about the white. What was the question again before, Julie?
No, I didn't.
Trying to see.
Down.
Julie, maybe write your question to Han. I can't find, because the comments are coming in from all the platforms. I can't find the other. The cookie cutters we amass over the years, anywhere and everywhere.
Oh, anywhere, yes. These days, even it's massive. I do like in Clark cutters. They are very popular. They have different shapes. Oh yeah, that's the same. Yes, okay, yes. I guess it does. Yes, it does with the. Well, yeah, I glued it on. This is glued on.
Thank you, Kathleen. So the soft cookie recipe, the Loft House one for your turkey.
Not for these. These are sugar cookies, but the other one, the with buttercream, yes, that is the Loft House. I have to say those are really good. Oh yeah, well you just do it the way you want, you know. I was looking online and some of the images of the turkeys, the paintings had white incorporated in because it's usually brown, I guess. So there was a lot of like white um, feathers, so that's why I decided to do with white. But you can obviously, you know,
And also,
colors.
If you do a different cookie that's maybe more pigmented, like a gingerbread or Han's honey cookies that are more colored, then the white pops even more, right? If they're using a different
Absolutely.
recipe.
Yes. I can see these done dark color though. I can see done with dark color. You could even paint it with gold. You can do anything you guys want. These are just, you know, some ideas.
So Han, when you added your turkey, if you would have put it flush to the bottom, they could stand up and you could make like little.
Yeah, they could stand up. Yeah, but the idea they were gonna stand up. Yeah, it could stand up. You could have another, let's say, oops, let me bring this up. It's a little too close. So you could have another, let's say this is round. Imagine this is not trimmed. So you could stand it up, you know,
super
and
cute.
you could stand up like that. And the bottom, I suppose you could do whatever color you want. I don't know. I would even leave it like this, maybe.
Well, you could fill the bottom with green, like grass or
grass or something like that. Even a grass tip might be nice. Just do a whole thing with grass tip and just stick it on, and it would kind of also help, you know, hide some of the exposed cookie here. So grass tip might be nice. I might actually do that. I don't know. That was the idea, but then I decided to do it differently. Do it differently. And you can also use your, like Mar said, microplane, your zester to shave the bottom so it's nice and you know, sharp and it can be flush. It can go flush onto the cookie that you're gonna stand it on.
So Diana, you're asking how to not like overflow.
Overflowing your border. When you're flooding.
Practice.
Well, like I said, it's a lot of practice, and as you saw, I wasn't really putting any pressure. I just really let the gravity do its job when I'm flooding, when I'm outlining. I'm not really squeezing it. I'm mostly just guiding, kind of like trying to, you know, put the line where where the cookie is, and then yeah, it's just practice, and then you try to flood it, and I would say you can leave few sections undecorated, and then use your scribe to to move the icing, and then if you see that there are any kind of dimples, you can always fill it in later. Or if there's too much icing, then you can use one of these tools. You know, we always have them on hand. You can use your cookie scraper. I don't know if Mark has a cookie scraper. You know, these tools are really handy to have because you can use it to pick up icing. You can like pick it up,
Lift it off, yeah, scoop it off. But
scoop it off, yes.
have you decorated yet? Because once you feel it and you do it, like it's one of those things that you just kind of have to do and feel to get the hang of it. You can watch a lot of videos, but you just have to jump in and give it a try, and then you get acclimated to it.
Yeah, don't start on a round, if I can recommend. Start on a heart or something more forgiving. A round is can be kind of depressing if you're just starting out. By depressing, I mean that you don't get it right and you think you will feel like you failed or something. But we all struggle with rounds, so I would start with a heart or a star, or not a star, but some other shapes that are more forgiving, and you don't see that you didn't make it so perfect. Well, then it could also be done that your icing is maybe too runny. It could also be that it's slightly, it is runnier than it should be. You can also use, Kali uses this, she uses a palette knife, I think, or a spatula. You can also use that to smooth the icing. And that icing could be, I think, a little thicker than what you're using.
Yeah.
Well,
it depends on the design you're making. Sometimes the icing doesn't have to be super level. So if your icing is on the thick side and it's not super flat, if you're adding more stuff to it, it doesn't really matter. So we're at an hour, Han.
An hour, right? So we're gonna wrap it up. Okay.
So thanks everybody for joining us. If you'd like to support us, you can sign up to our groups on Patreon. We each have our group on Patreon. Or support us on Coffee by purchasing our templates and different digital.
And don't forget to check out my YouTube, coming out with a new video tomorrow, guys, 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, it's scheduled?
It's scheduled right on time.
So we'll see you guys on Friday for more cookie decorating. We have no idea as usual what we're doing. Anyway, do you? I don't. Yes, we're so organized. But anyway, we'll see you Friday. We'll be there. At least we know that.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.